In the heart of Missouri lives a family so quietly powerful that most Americans have never heard their name. They don't own a famous beer brand or a football team, yet their fortune dwarfs almost every dynasty in the Midwest. And it all started in the basement of a St. Louis car dealership. Their name is Taylor, and through a single company, Enterprise Holdings, they built one of the largest private fortunes in America. The family is estimated to be worth well over $40 billion. That makes them, by most estimates, the richest family in the entire state of Missouri. To understand how, you have to go back to a man named Jack Taylor. He wasn't born into money. He was a Navy fighter pilot in World War II, flying missions off an aircraft carrier in the Pacific. That carrier's name would one day become a global brand. Jack flew Hellcat fighters from the deck of the USS Enterprise, the most decorated ship of the war. He earned a Distinguished Flying Cross and 2 air medals. When he came home to St. Louis, he had no fortune and no clear path. He took a job selling Cadillacs. By the mid-1950s, Jack noticed something everyone else ignored. When customers dropped their cars off for repair, they had no way to get around. He proposed a small car leasing operation to the dealership owner. In 1957, with just 7 cars, Executive Leasing Company was born. The office was a corner in the basement of the Cadillac dealership. Jack ran it with a single employee. He put his entire life savings on the line and borrowed against his home. There was no safety net. If the idea failed, Jack Taylor would have lost everything. But the idea worked. Jack understood a simple truth. If you treat customers like family, they come back for life. He drilled one obsession into every employee. Take care of the customer and the employee first, and the profits will follow. In 1969, Jack renamed the company Enterprise after the carrier that carried him through the war. It was more than branding. It was a tribute to the discipline and loyalty that shaped him. That name would eventually appear on airports and street corners across the world. But the boldest move came in 2007. Enterprise bought 2 struggling giants at once, National Car Rental and Alamo. Overnight, the family controlled 3 of the biggest car rental brands on Earth. They now finally dominated the airports they had once ignored. With that acquisition, the family created Enterprise Holdings, the parent company that owns all 3 brands. Today, it operates a fleet of well over 1.5 million vehicles. It is one of the largest private companies in the United States, and it remains almost entirely owned by the Taylor family. The scale is staggering. Enterprise Holdings generates well over $30 billion in annual revenue. It employs around 90,000 people worldwide. If it were publicly traded, it would rank among the largest companies in America. But there are no shareholders to answer to, only the Taylors. The nerve center of it all sits in Clayton, Missouri, an affluent suburb of St. Louis. From gleaming office towers, the family directs a global operation. Clayton is where the money lives, a compact downtown packed with wealth, law firms, and quiet power. For decades, the Taylors have been the invisible force behind St. Louis. Their fortune touches the region in ways most residents never realize. And when the founder finally spoke through his checkbook, the numbers were breathtaking. Jack Taylor became one of the most generous donors in Missouri history. He and his family gave hundreds of millions of dollars away. A single gift to Forest Park helped transform one of the largest urban parks in America. His name and money quietly reshaped the city he loved. His giving reached the Barnes Jewish Hospital, the St. Louis Zoo, and cultural institutions across the region. the Enterprise Holdings Foundation planted millions of trees and funded programs worldwide. For the Taylors, philanthropy became as much a part of the brand as the cars themselves. In 2016, Jack Taylor died at the age of 94. At the time of his death, Forbes estimated his personal fortune at nearly $34 billion. He had gone from 7 cars in a basement to one of the wealthiest men on the planet. But the empire didn't slow down. The fortune passed to his children, Andrew Taylor and his sister, Joanne Taylor Kindle. Andy remained as executive chairman, steering the company he had spent his life building. Joanne led the family's philanthropic foundation. The dynasty had cleared its first generational handover intact. Then came a historic moment. In 2020, Andy's daughter, Chrissy Taylor, was named chief executive of Enterprise Holdings. She became the 3rd generation of Taylors to lead the company. And she made history as one of the youngest women ever to run a company of its size. Chrissy didn't inherit the corner office by name alone. Like her father, she worked her way up through the company. She held roles across operations and management before taking the top job. Her promotion signaled the family's intent to keep control firmly in Taylor hands, but her leadership faced an immediate storm. She took over just as the pandemic slammed the travel industry. With airports empty, car rental demand collapsed almost overnight. Rivals filed for bankruptcy. The family's private empire stared into its greatest test yet. Yet being private and debt-cautious paid off. While competitor Hertz plunged into bankruptcy, Enterprise weathered the crisis without going under. The family's conservative, long-term philosophy, drilled in by Jack decades earlier, proved to be its greatest shield. They emerged stronger than their rivals. So just how deep does the family's wealth run today? Estimates place the extended Taylor family fortune at well over $40 billion. That places them among the richest dynasties in America, in the same conversation as the Waltons and the Kochs. And nearly all of it flows from that single company. Unlike flashier billionaires, the Taylors have avoided the spotlight. You won't find them chasing headlines with yachts and public feuds. Their power is quiet, deliberate, and generational. It is the kind of wealth that shapes a state without ever demanding attention. Their influence stretches far beyond rental cars. The family and its foundation are pillars of St. Louis civic life. From medical research to conservation, their money underwrites institutions across Missouri. Few families have shaped a single American region so thoroughly and so silently. Enterprise itself keeps evolving under the 3rd generation. The company is investing heavily in electric vehicles, mobility technology, and used car sales. Chrissy Taylor is steering the empire into a future where car ownership itself is changing. The family is betting billions on staying ahead. The company's reach now spans nearly 100 countries. From a basement in St. Louis, the Taylor name touches airports on almost every continent. Very few family businesses have grown this large while remaining entirely privately held. That secrecy is a deliberate strategy. Staying private means the Taylors never have to reveal their books. No quarterly earnings calls, no activist investors, no public disclosure of exactly how deep the fortune goes. It is a level of financial privacy that public billionaires can only dream of. That privacy also shields the family from scrutiny. Enterprise, like all rental giants, has faced its share of controversy over fees, safety recalls, and industry practices over the years. But as a private company, the pressure has always been lighter than on its publicly traded rivals. The Taylors answer mainly to themselves. Today, the dynasty spans 3 active generations, with a 4th already growing up in its shadow. The question every dynasty faces now hangs over the Taylors. Can the 4th generation preserve what Jack built? History shows that most family fortunes fade within a few generations. For now, control remains rock solid. Chrissy Taylor leads the company. Andy Taylor watches over it as chairman emeritus. The foundation carries the family name into every corner of St. Louis. The empire Jack built from 7 cars has never been stronger. So the next time you rent a car at an airport or one pulls up to your driveway to pick you up, remember whose empire you're touching. It traces back to 1 Navy pilot, 1 basement, and 7 cars. The Taylors turned a simple idea into the richest fortune in Missouri. They are the family that owns Missouri in every way that matters, yet almost no one knows their name. A dynasty built on loyalty, discipline, and staying out of the headlines. If this story surprised you, subscribe for more untold stories of the families who quietly run America. Because the richest ones are always the ones you never see coming.